Hey there, and welcome to A Well-Rounded Life, the podcast, a space for creative entrepreneurs seeking an intentional life and biz filled with grace, passion, and purpose. I'm your host, Geomyra. I'm a mama, wife, dessert fanatic, and on the ultimate mission to get you closer to your idea of what it means to live a well-rounded life. Right here is where you'll find curated resources, quick tips, and relatable stories, no matter what season of life you're in. So hang out with me for a bit and let's dive in. Do you know what this week is? It's our anniversary. This week marks 1 year since I started this podcast. Holy moly, where has the time gone? Before I get into the show, if you are out there listening, hello. Do me a favor and send a screenshot and tag us over on Instagram at Coach for Creatives or on Facebook, Coaching for Creatives, so that I may say hi and thank you and give you some love because I appreciate you. All right, so last year I launched this podcast on my birthday, March 27th. The podcast has been a dream of mine for the past few years, and I finally acted on my big dream and I made it come into fruition. Over the past year, I have received so much feedback, comments, encouragement, even criticism, and everything in between, which is what one would expect when you decide to just go for it. I knew that once I stepped onto this platform of podcasting, that I would have the opportunity to affect lives and to just put it all on the table and to also be put on blast. There are some people that look forward to A Well-Rounded Life Wednesdays and others that may want me to just shut the you-know-what up. Just kidding. I really hope that is not the case. But overall, I feel so blessed at the opportunity and the privilege, really, to come into your homes, your cars, your workspace each week. And as we are 1 year in, I just wanted to do a fun episode related to lessons learned over the past year as it relates to the show and my journey as a podcaster. So we're going to go down memory lane and chat about a few episodes that stand out and just what it is to be on the other side of the mic. All right, sound good? So let's get into the anniversary birthday show. It's funny because I was planning to go back to listen to the first few episodes that I recorded for A Well-Rounded Life. But then I chickened out because I'm sure there are some cringe-worthy shows and moments at this point. And so I'm just going to keep it moving. You can go back and listen to all the other episodes. Let me know how bad it is. But look, I'm a work in progress. All of us are. But in all seriousness, we've had some great shows that I'm proud of and some that are catalysts that have helped me grow as a business coach and an encourager and just as a person. Over the past year, you guys have met some of the key players in my life, to include my Well-Rounded Life liaison, Kimmy, actually twice. She was on the show twice, episodes 13 and 20, I believe. You guys have also met some of my playmakers, aka my clients. They have jumped on and provided some of their expertise. You even got to meet my hubby on 2 episodes as well. He was on episodes 15 and our season finale for season 2, which was episode number 32. Fun fact, the interviews with my husband have received the most feedbacks, laughs, comments, DMs. If you know him, you know why. We've had so much fun recording the episodes side by side and bringing them to you, to the point that someone has asked me, why isn't he your co-host? No, but he is fun to bring along on this journey every now and again. So I do twist his arm. He does show up for me and we just have the best time. With that, here are my 5 lessons learned from 1 year on the airwaves. All right, so first lesson, podcasting is much more time consuming than you will ever think and more time consuming to produce than it looks from the outside. I had heard that it was a lot of work and heard that you have to carve out time. But look, y'all, I had no idea how challenging it would be to curate topics, to come up with the original content, to write, edit, to bring on team members, to ask people to show up for me and to interview. When I recently revised our podcasting workflow, I was surprised at how many steps it took to produce a show. I'm a girl that's all about systems and workflows, so I try to update our workflows. And as the show grows and we progress and we try to get better and better, the workflows are going to shift. And so writing that out let me see how much work goes into showing up for you on Wednesdays. So in my case, our shows usually run between 15 and 45 minutes, depending on if I'm doing a solo or interview style show. It could be few minutes of me just sharing some thoughts, or it could be legit over an hour of me interviewing one of our awesome guests. Most podcasts, when they start off, they are not monetized as well. So when you think about it, you are taking time out of your workday to work on a project that is not making you income directly. And so those of us that get into podcasting, we do so because we have a message that we want to share, and we are willing to sacrifice our time, our resources, and our money to do so. Because in our case, sometimes we will drop freebies for each show that are the solo shows, things that you can download, and we also have to create that as well. And if you are interested in starting your own podcast, take into account that you will need to allocate hours in your week to produce your show. Hours, not minutes, but hours. Also, if you are interested in producing your own podcast, you can send us a DM, send us an email, hello@coachingforcreatives.co, and let's chat about that as well, because this is a great platform to share your message unapologetically as well. All right, number 2, second lesson learned over the year. It takes a village. Or at least in my case, it does. Some people do this all on their own, but for myself, I have people that hold me down in the background. I don't pull this show off by myself. Another fun fact, before the start of each season, Kimmy, Well-Rounded Life Liaison of mine, we sit down and we chat about the topics that we want to bring to you guys throughout the season. We brainstorm the whole season, we come up with ideas, and then from there, I go vet guests that I think would either be a better fit to talk about a certain topic, or someone that I want to bring on the show that I admire. So we decide what topics we want to bring to you guys, and then that is how we outline the season. We draft the topics, we plug them into tentative dates, and then I go in and I draft the show descriptions of what ends up being in the show notes. And so, interesting enough, we swap out show topics and we come up with new ideas, and things shift as the season goes on. And as life happens around us, we make adjustments as needed. My husband and some of my close friends, they all are people that I turn to when I'm looking for inspiration and feedback. The last show with my husband that he was on, number 32, came from a conversation that we have about how your spouse or partner ends up being a return on your investment. And so that's another example of how we took one show out and then added that one in. And then also, not to mention you guys, my well-rounders, you also give great feedback and show ideas. And I love hearing from you and bringing you content that you are requesting. I have taken your show ideas, your reviews and things that you have written. I take all of that stuff into consideration when I am producing this show. So please believe that it is not forgotten or unseen. We definitely pay attention to what you're saying. I say it often, this show was made for you, and I created it with you in mind. 9-to-5ers, small business owners, moms, single people, married couples. It's something for everyone in each episode. That is my goal. So if you have any feedback, anything you want to share with me, have any show ideas, send them our way as well. Another important member on the podcasting team is my copywriter. So once Kimmy and I decide on the show topics, I do the drafts and the write-ups, and then my copywriter, she checks for grammatical errors and she spices up what I have drafted. She does what I call, she throws some glitter on it. I'll send her an email and I'm like, hey, this is what I'm thinking. Can you just throw some glitter on it? Basically, make sure I'm not looking crazy out here. And so shout out to Holly for being such a big part of our production team in the background and holding it down for us. And then alongside Holly is our graphic designer, Caitlin. She created our podcast cover art for the last 2 seasons. And while I was in Dubai, my branding photographer and friend, Terry Baskin, she shot a series of images that you're going to start to see here on the show's website and over on our social media. So thank you, Terry, if you are listening. So to recap, members of the team include me, Kimmy, Holly, Caitlin, and Terry, and all my friends and family that hold me down in the background. As I said, it takes a village, so thank you, ladies and gents, for helping to support my personal dream of just coming to you guys, well-rounders, each week. So editing, uploading, all of that, though, comes back on me. So I have to edit the shows, upload everything, do the show notes, link everything, create a newsletter for the show. All of that comes back to me once the show goes through the workflow. All right, lesson number 3. Batch scheduling is a must. I preach it to my clients all the time, the importance of batching work when possible. Thus, what I have tried very, very hard to do when it comes to the show is to write the outline for as many shows that I do solo as possible. While I am sitting at my desk for a few hours or so, I just legit try to write out the outlines for everything, and to make sure that I can write as many shows as possible so that I'm making the best use of my time. I also record and edit as many shows as possible in a day. This is my second show of the day that I am recording. And then at some point I sit down and I just edit away as many as I can so that it just continues to be a batch of work at a time. What I have learned over the year is that when I don't batch the show, I may sometimes feel behind and pressure to bring you content, and I was beating myself up about it. But you know what? Done is better than perfect sometimes, and I gave myself some grace, and I showed up when I could show up, because at that time I wasn't feeling my best, and so I was excited at the end that I actually just got it done. One of my playmakers and fellow podcasters, Natasha of Purpose to Create, she does a fantastic job of batching and producing her show. So shout out to Natasha. If you haven't checked out the Purpose to Create podcast as of yet, do so whenever you have a chance. You can find it on Apple Podcasts, Google, and wherever you listen to podcasts. Check her out over there. So batching, guys. Try to batch like task where you can. So if it's writing, if it's editing, if it's doing your newsletter, if it's posting to your social media and Instagram, batch your work as much as possible so that you're not reinventing the wheel each and every day. Number 4 lesson. The 4th lesson. Sharing your story and being authentic is what people need and want. In season 1, in episodes 6 and 9, I believe it was, I shared my health diagnosis and my experience with losing my mom and dealing with grief on those shows. And I found that once I shared authentically, that it was actually a blessing to other people. Once I shared on those 2 episodes, my DMs and my emails were going crazy with people saying that they had a familiar health situation, or that they are still battling grief, and that they were going to seek therapy, and that the show touched them in some way. I literally ran into someone in Target, and they were telling me that they were listening to the show in tears because it was as if someone finally heard them. And so, yes, it was terrifying to share and to show up, but I am so glad that I did, because I got to see the impact when I shared my message. So if you're someone that's on the fence about sharing your journey and what is going on in your life, I just want you to ask yourself, will sharing and being open encourage someone and remind them that they are not alone? Will sharing and being open encourage someone and remind them that they are not alone? You just never know who you are destined to be connected to through certain experiences. And so I just think it's important to not be selfish if we have a message that we need to share, to not be selfish if we have a skill set or a solution to a problem. Show up and let people know that they are not alone and that you got them and can hold them down and that, it can get done. And number 5, we have made it to the 5th lesson. Number 5 for me is I am where I'm supposed to be. The number one lesson that I've learned this year of podcasting in this first year is that I am exactly in this moment where I'm supposed to be. For years, I've wanted to do the show and I didn't. I really didn't because I was fearful. I was fearful of the unknown, fearful of how much work it would take, fearful of what others would think, fearful that I wouldn't meet the standards and expectations that I had set for myself. I was feeling hesitant to pull the trigger on the show because I was told that the podcasting market is saturated and that it would be hard and that I needed to do other things. But guess what, y'all? I showed up. Yes, it has been a scary journey. Yes, each time I drop an episode, I have a little gut check, hoping that the show resonates with someone listening out there. Yes, I get anxious when I see that I received a new review or rating. But guess what? I did it anyway, and I do it anyway. I show up and I reach for what is important to me. I fulfilled one of my dreams as a coach and as a content creator when I decided to do this show. I have produced a show that my children can access and take note of as they grow into adults, which means that some of my life lessons, my journey, my story, my thoughts, my insights are things that they will be able to have access to forever. And for that, I am so grateful. I'm also grateful for the opportunity to show up without restrictions and on my own terms. And so because of that, I just also want to encourage you to just show up. Show up and do what is scary. Show up, feel the fear, do it anyway, and show up knowing that at some point you are affecting your legacy and that you are walking in your purpose. And I want to ask you, let's reflect for a minute. What dream of yours do you hope to accomplish by this time next year? Big or small? What do you want to create, to produce, to accomplish, to check off your bucket list? Every year it is a goal of mine to launch something on my birthday. That is my timeline. So I try to launch big projects on my birthday and it holds me accountable. And so I want to ask you, how will you serve and be a blessing and problem solver for someone else? Where will you decide to show up? What deadline do you need to set? What date will you launch as well? I just want you to seriously think about that and to consider what is at stake if you don't show up. And I want to hear your answers. You know me. I want to hear all about it because I want to encourage you and give you some insights and some encouragement and support. So send me a DM on Instagram at Coach for Creatives or Facebook, Coaching for Creatives on Facebook. I'm not going to share your answers. I'm not going to share your dreams, but instead I will take note of it so that I will cheer you on. And I just want to remind you again that done is better than perfect. So stop playing and start doing. Again, stop playing and start doing. I thank you, friends. I thank you from the bottom of my heart for taking time to connect with me here on this show, for making this year a dream come true. Well-rounders, thank you for that, for supporting my dream. I have some fun and super scary projects launching soon. So stay in the know and make sure you're subscribed to our newsletter, the weekly roundup, and you are subscribed to the show when we do launch and talk about the other projects. So make sure you are subscribed there. All the links are in the show notes, and I hope you took something from my 5 lessons learned from 1 year of podcasting. And if you haven't done so, it is my birthday week, and I would love for you to leave us a quick review on Apple Podcast, and you can also leave us a 5-star rating because they are 2 different things. It would mean so much to me as a birthday gift, and it would be much appreciated for my team as well, because like I said, it takes a village. Thank you, Well-Rounders, for rocking with me for the past 12 months. 12 months of showing up. I couldn't do this without your support. I love you, and I will be back next week with another awesome episode. All right. Bye. I will chat with you soon. Friends, thanks for kicking it with us this week. Remember to subscribe so you're notified when a new episode airs. I'd love it if you leave us a review and share this goodness with your squad. Until next time, seek a well-rounded life and remember to focus on what matters most.